What's up, Paper Gang? My name is Yugioh. Welcome back to a very special Q&A on the channel. I am here with a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh player, the owner of a very special YouTube channel where you analyze Yu-Gi-Oh replays and break them down card by card, play by play. He's a great friend. He's a great person. Very excited to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, Yu-Gi-Oh Replays. Replays, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm blessed to be alive, man. Thank you so much for asking. So before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Imperial Gaming Collectibles. Be sure to check them out. Link down in the description box below for all your TCG needs and accessories. And of course, they've got the best staff in the game. Big shout out to you, Art, Alex, Tiger. I love you guys with all my heart, man. So Replays, before we get started, why don't you tell us who are you and what are you here to do today?
Yeah, so I am Jake from Yugioh Replays, and I'm here to do the PriscoTCG interview. Very excited. You are a very fun YouTuber for me to watch. You know, I think, or for context, for anyone who doesn't know, we go to the same locals, which is undeniably the best locals in the world, right? So it's like, you know, it's very awesome to see someone who's making content on my locals, because, you know, personally, I never thought that would happen, you know, so very excited and very excited to be here.
Hey man, thank you so much for those kind words. I'm equally as excited to have you on the channel, my friend. I love watching your videos as well. You do a great job with your commentary, and you've got some great duelists on the channel before. And yeah, I'm gonna link your link is always in my description down below on every single video. Ooh. Oh yeah, you're always down
thank
there.
You.
So
thank you.
Be sure to check him out. He's down there somewhere. Anything you want to add before we start?
No, just go straight on into it, as I always say.
You got it, my boy. So before we start, are there any shout outs that you would like to give?
Well, obviously, shout out you. I've been watching some of these interviews, and yeah, you do a good job with them, so I had to come through. And then, obviously, you know, I'm not gonna say names because I know I will forget a name, but shout out to everyone who's allowed my channel to get where it is, because it is not, as you're probably familiar, doing a channel. It's not a solo thing. You have a lot of people, you know, helping out. So obviously, thank you to everyone who has been a part of that journey, and you guys know who you are.
Absolutely, man. And you know, I've conducted many interviews so far. They're going to be dropping on the channel probably once a week. And one thing I can say is that everyone that I've interviewed so far has been very thankful to the people that they surround themselves with. And I'm sure you can attest to this. We can't do anything that we do without those people that love and support us as much as they do.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Yeah.
Big shout out to all the friends, all the homies, all the people that we've played with and made connections with over the years. And, you know, we love you guys with all of our hearts. So let's get started right on into it. I just got a question for you here. Your videos focus mostly on education, as we said before, whether that's analyzing a replay or breaking down an occurrence or an update in the Yu-Gi-Oh community or the metagame. So I'm curious, what do you think is most important about educating the community, and what inspired you to start educating?
Yeah, so I would say that, you know, education is in Yu-Gi-Oh is something that's honestly just like, it's not optional. It's so important, because the game is so insanely complex, right? I think if you are a competitive player like yourself or myself, it's very easy to take for granted all the knowledge that we've sort of accrued naturally to play the game, right? And it also is the type of game where it's like there's always just more. You know what I mean? Like there's always more information. For example, like, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, right? So do you know the line of text that's on a prank token?
I'm going to be honest, I don't. Why don't you tell me?
No one knows. No one knows. No one knows it. And I personally, I play the deck, okay? And I learned this like a week ago. The token cannot be tributed, which is very important with Nib. It's so important, right? I was watching this replay of like the most recent YCS champion, right? He didn't know that. He was playing the deck too, right? So you know, the point is not to say that, oh, like these players are bad. No, of course not, right? The point is just that there's so much in the game, and it's really important to just have someone or multiple people, to be honest, who can provide that type of content, right? Like the reason why I sort of do that is because that's the type of content I personally consume myself, so I have fun making that myself.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and I think a lot of the people that I've talked to, especially, and a lot of the people in my inner circle, can attest to that. It's always important to reach out and to look online and to see and to use your resources, like we said, and to just see, you know, what's out there. How much there's an infinite wealth of knowledge surrounding this game, and there's people like you, there's people like Logan, there's people like Triff, and Nesh and DB Grinder and all these guys. They know so much about the game, and there's so much insight to be had. So it's great what you're doing, and it's great that, you know, we're in a Yu-Gi-Oh community where there's plenty of room for everyone to eat, and no one's really keeping this information to themselves. We're all working together to try to grow as duelists and as people. So I appreciate that, and I respect.
Well, and just to sort of go off what you're saying, you know, I think what some people might not like realize is that like this game can grow in popularity. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if more like say like your channel does really well, that's good for everybody because now it's like more people are involved in the game. More people start showing up at Imperial, right? So it's like, you know, I just think it's so important for people in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, you know, be friends and just like, you know, stick by each other's side.
Absolutely, man. That's what we're here to do as humans, right? At the end of the day. Yeah. Next question for you is, I want to know a little bit about how you got into Yu-Gi-Oh, your experience in the game thus far, and maybe some of your accolades and accomplishments in the game. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so on that last question, you're not going to get many. I'm pretty bad at this game. I first got into the game when I was really young, and I literally remember this so vividly. I was sitting there on like the stairs of my house, right? My mom comes up and says, "Hey, I got you something." It was a pack of Shadow. I think it was called Shadow of Infinity at the time. GX pack, right? Opened it, and you know, it was one of these things where, and I'm sure you can sort of agree with this as well. It's like it's hard to really explain why you like it so much, but you just have this sort of like natural calling to it, and it clicks. You love it, right? It's awesome, and yeah. So I mean, as all kids, you know, kind of stepped aside for a little bit, and then what I noticed is that I kept sort of coming back. I just couldn't get away, just, you know, over and over and over. So I remember towards the end of 2013, when the Dragon Ruler format was coming to a close, I found out about Dueling Network, the older Dueling book, and I started learning that there was actually a competitive side to this game, and I fell in love with it, and I've been in love with it ever since.
That's amazing, man, and I'm really glad and I'm thankful that you're still continuing your passion and continuing your dream to be the very best, like no one ever was, as it were, right?
Absolutely.
As a metagame analyst, you basically do this professionally at this point. You've garnered over 2,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, and they are dedicated. I see them down in the comments, asking you questions and interacting with you, and yeah, big shout out to them, man. So as kind of like a professional metagame analyst, what are your thoughts on the current meta? Like, are you enjoying it? Do you think that others are enjoying it, and what are some of the things that we could see happen on the upcoming days?
Yeah, so yeah, big question there, very important question. So the average sort of sentiment that I've gathered is that it's an average format to most people, right? There's always going to be problematic cards. I mean, we can go back to 2004, when you and I were probably both very little children and people were complaining about cards like BLS, right? So I don't think that's ever going to change. But so, yeah, I think overall people think it's just a very average format. For myself, I'm personally enjoying it. I think, we have a little deck profile coming up sometime around the posting of this, and you guys will see why I like the format so much. With regards to what could really change, I actually had a very sort of concise video on this. I think Meow's gotta go. Meow is just too good. It's just insanity. It's so
it's a nasty card, yeah.
it's just one card starters will like forever just be kind of abusable in this game, right? And then I do think Brave package, they got to trim it a little bit. And if it was up to me, I would probably cut out some of these cards like Verte and Hulk. But like, I mean, personally, I just don't see it. Even though I kind of wish they would, like a Mine or like a Harpy's Storm,
And I think you touched on something that's really important. The amalgamation decks right now are kind of taking over Yu-Gi-Oh! The pile decks, right? Where we can kind of just slam a bunch of different engines into a deck and call it a deck, right? And the Brave engine, we see in the OCG that, they've limited that stuff already, and people are still playing it. So it's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
It's just something that is going to be a part of our metagame for as long as it's allowed. So just to follow up on that, so do you think if Meow goes away and we have to go back to the days of old where it's just 3 Poly, 3 Pandemonium, and Prey, like, do you think the deck becomes unplayable?
I'll give you a quote from my last video. It's going to the depths of Rogue.
Depths of Rogue, right?
if that happens, it will go to the, because essentially you don't have a 1-card starter anymore, right? And I mean, you can probably recall back to, I think this was like maybe Q2 2021, right, where we saw a Zodiac was so powerful because they just had Dryden, right? It was just a 1-card. Oh, any name, I can pop anything, right? They took that away, and then look what happened, right? So I think it'll be a very similar story if that's the case.
Right. All right. Well, it remains to be seen. As I always say, what will happen on the ban list. We should be getting it in the next month or two, and I'm sure you and I will both be doing our own breakdowns of the ban list. Remains to be seen, and we'll see what happens. For my next question for you, so I want to know about your experience with commentating Yu-Gi-Oh, because obviously you've been doing it for a very long time. So how does commentating online, like commentating a replay, differ from commentating like an in-person live event for you?
I mean, that's a good question. So I would really say that the only difference is that when you're doing it live, it's like, I'm trying to think of like a good analogy, right? I try to think of it as almost like you're driving like down a road, right? So it's like if you're gonna be doing a commentated, like if you're commentating like after the fact and you just have the VOD open and you can edit things out, take your time, right? It's like it's like you're driving the car and you can kind of just go down this however you want. If you want to go take a tangent and talk about why right of air mid or like why Verte is the worst thing to ever be printed, like you can go down that road and then you can come back to the replay, right? But it's like if you're commentating live, like when I was watching your game, right, when I was commentating that on the Goofy Gauntlet, it's like it's almost like you're in a Tesla, like an electric car, you're in the passenger seat and you just gotta go, like, you know. So like if I'm going on a tangent and then you activate Red Eyes Fusion out of nowhere, I can't talk about Verte, I gotta go back to you. So that's really the only difference that I would see.
Right. So what you're saying is it's kind of like a spur of the moment versus, okay, I can kind of systematically break this down, go off on whatever tangents.
Yeah.
Right. All right, that's pretty interesting. So yeah, because I've been looking to get into the commentary a little bit more myself. So I'll definitely have some more conversations with you and get some more tips on how to do it efficiently. But I take a lot of inspiration from your videos, and I'm very thankful for what you do.
Yeah, that's a humbling statement, my guy. So, no, because I remember watching you doing the GG for Freeze, which are very good, very well run tournaments for practicing, especially if you can't get to locals or afford the deck like myself. So, and the point being though is that you commentated very, very well. So.
Thank you, man. From the bottom of my heart, I do appreciate you, and it means a lot coming from you, my friend. I appreciate that. My next question to follow up would be, is there anyone in the Yu-Gi-Oh community, or the Yu-Gi-Tubing community for that matter, that you say that you would look up to or you would consider a mentor, and who are they? And,
absolutely. So there are three that just like sort of go to the front of my mind. One, who I think you're friends with, is Matthew Mastelaric.
Oh, yeah, Matt, yeah.
He was the other Eldritch guy. Right, yeah. And so yeah, he's someone that I ran into a lot when I was sort of revigorating myself within the metagame back in I would say late 2017, early 2018, and and even to this day I feel that his sort of deck building choices are just very, very strong and very well thought out. Like I'm pretty sure you've seen his Eldritch profile from Goofy Gauntlet 2.
Yeah, actually, I ended up playing him in the round before the top 16.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I think that like just the amount of sort of effort and theory that goes into it, I really appreciate stuff like that because I just think it's ahead of the curve, like to be quite honest, right? Second person that comes to mind is Bogli. I remember playing against him and really having a nice like conversation with him towards the end of 2021. I remember that when I was playing against him, I sort of noticed something like different, right? So when he makes his moves, like you can actually see if you look into his eyes, he's thinking like 5 moves ahead. Like he's literally sitting there and he's like, okay, if I go this and then he goes this, I go this, right? And I feel like most players, with myself included, are a bit more, sort of tunnel vision, right? Like, oh, we're just gonna go this or slap this butler and see what happens, right? And just seeing the sort of thought and care that goes into the game from his perspective is like very, I would say probably inspiring, just to know that there are levels like above that, right? And also, I think with Bogli, something that I appreciate is he's been doing this a very long time. I mean, if we look to anything really, personally, the examples that come to my mind for this would be like entertainment, like artists or fighters. I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff, but like there's always this sort of like rotation of like talent, right? It's always this guy's up right now, rotate to the next guy, rotate to the next guy, right? Bogli doesn't leave. He's still here doing incredible things, and just being able to outlast like that, I think everyone respects that, right? Absolutely. And last person, so the last person, I'm not going to say his name. He's actually the testing partner that helped me put together the list. He knows who he is. I'm going to respect his privacy because he gets kind of bothered a lot on DV. So I'm going to respect his privacy, but he knows very well who he is, and he's someone that I respect very greatly, and I respect his opinion.
That's wonderful, man. And yeah, big shout out to that person, whoever that person may be. And I think it's kind of cool how you brought both Matt and Bogli into this picture because, like you said, they're both kind of people who, well, I would say that Matt is kind of a guy who really has a stronghold on the meta, right? And he's able to make these tech choices. Like his Eldritch deck profile just included a ton of floodgates, right? And he said, you know what, for this event, these decks are going to be represented, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build it this way. And I'm going to play Lava Golem, and I'm going to play Rivalry, and there can be only one. And And, he did really well because of that, because he had a lot of insight and foresight. Whereas Bogley is a guy, like you said, like he's very systematic, and he's playing chess in a game where everyone else is playing checkers, right? So and not only that, but both the guys are incredibly nice guys with a wealth of knowledge, many years of Yu-Gi-Oh! Under their belt. And, Bogley especially has been a really great friend to me throughout the years, and someone that I've looked up to as well. So big shout outs to all those guys, and thanks for sharing that with us, man. I appreciate that. My next question would be, this is kind of a fun one. If you could duel anyone, right, even if they're not a Yu-Gi-Oh player, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Duel anyone? Oh man. So not you, like, doesn't even have to be a Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Right. Could be anyone from history or the future or whatever.
That's such a good question. Honestly, it would probably be Patrick Hoban, because like I said earlier, right? The time that I was getting to the game was right after this Dragon Ruler format, and I mentioned, like, players sort of rotating at like their sort of fame and like accomplishments at a certain time period. If I recall correctly, I think this was getting close, or right, I think it was getting close to the sort of Hoban era, where he sort of pioneered the triple upstart. I think it was the triple upstart sort of movement. He kind of made that, and I mean, just one of these geniuses that I would love to, I love to play a game with.
Mm-hmm. And Patrick Hoban, of course, the author of Road to the King, one of the most well-known and well-respected books in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Not only does he delve into some of the nuances of the game and some of the timeless kind of lessons that we can learn from the game, but he also incorporates a lot of life's lessons into it as well. It's a very well-written book. I'll leave the link to the website Road to the King down in the description box down below. And if you don't know, now you know. Patrick Hoban, one of the greatest players and greatest minds in this game in history. So it's a really good choice, man. Attaboy. I've got just a couple questions for you. Do you have time?
Absolutely. Right, absolutely.
So this is about your channel. So you, like I said before, you've amassed over 2,000 subscribers in your time as a YouTuber, and you're well on your way to 3K, and we're definitely going to get you that soon. Guys, like I said, his description is down below. Drop him that sub if you haven't already, man. It will benefit you greatly as a duelist. So that's a big feat, and especially in such a niche corner of YouTube, right? So what sorts of strategies do you use to keep your viewers engaged as a content creator, and how do you navigate through any of the setbacks?
I mean, so to be very, very honest with it, right? So for anyone who doesn't know, it's just like, what you put in is kind of like what you get out, right? So it's like, if I'm showing up to the gym like 1 day a week and then I bump it up to 3, I'll probably get in better shape or I'll accomplish the goals that I'm looking for, right? And I would just say showing up, because I don't know if you've ever ran into this, but I've had some channels that I really, really love, even outside of like Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And I'll just be so in love with their content, I can't get enough, and then they stop. And it's like, all right, well, well, I got to change the channel now. So, yeah, that would be my biggest piece of advice.
For new players of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? People entering the game now, having no knowledge of the game. So what's the biggest piece of advice that you would give to those players?
I would say, oh, man. I mean, so obviously it depends on how much time you have, right? Because, I talk to all different types of people trying to, like, learn the game to a competitive aspect. And I would say, some people have 30 minutes a week, some people have like 8 hours a week, right? Or, somewhere in between. And I would just say, for whatever time that you can afford or want to put into the game, just really immerse yourself, There's DB, you can watch literally you can watch the best of the best anytime, right? Like the two people who are in the finals, Jerome and Elijah, I mean, they're both on high rated playing, right? So it's like, that's kind of where that practice, and like practice makes perfect. Like just going there and watching, or you can watch great channels like Paper or myself, right? And just having that immersion, right? Like if I want to learn a foreign language, if I want to learn foreign language X, it's like, probably spending time with people who speak X would be a good idea, right? So I would just say immerse yourself, and like you said, like just enjoy the process, because it's a process.
Absolutely, man, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's about making those connections. It's about getting emulsified and immersed in the community. There's plenty of people that you could reach out to. I'm one of them. Hit me up on my Discord. You can reach out to Replays. He's there too. I mean, there's so many people that you can just get involved with, and it is something where the amount of time that you put into it is going to be exactly what you get back out of it, right? So, all right, so one final question, and this is the most important one to me. If you could leave my viewers with just one piece of wisdom, whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh related or not, maybe it's a quote, maybe it's just a piece of advice, what would it be?
I'm gonna they say on DB, think.
Yeah, thinking.
Oh man, thinking. Because there's like a couple, and I'm trying to think of what I would say. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I would say I forgot where I heard this from, but proper preparation prevents poor performance.
Wow, I love the alliteration on that
that's
too.
That's the first one. And then the other one that I was thinking of is that I would just say that, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh teaches people like a lot of lessons, right? And I would say that like one lesson is that like you will no matter who you are, like no one can walk on water. Everyone will make mistakes, right? Hopefully they're not like the really, really bad ones, right? But you know, no one's perfect. We all make mistakes. But you know, the thing that I think Yu-Gi-Oh can really teach us is that like you can learn. You can learn from those mistakes, and you can become a better person. You can become a better you, and you can just, you know, refine and, you know, just become a better version of yourself, which is really powerful, I would say.
Right, and I gotta say, man, that's such great advice just in general for life, right? Is just to continue to grow and to continue to prosper and do what makes you happy and do what makes you you. Because at the end of the day, you know, me personally, I'm making these videos for myself at the end of the day because I enjoy doing it.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's not that I couldn't care less what my viewers have to say, because I love you guys so much and I support you, and you know, I support you with all my heart, and I'm thankful for you watching my videos if you are. But yeah, I'm doing this because I love to do it, and I think that's what makes my content good, is because I'm putting into it a lot of effort because I'm enjoying it, right? And I know that you're doing the same. And guys, I'm just going to say it one more time. If you haven't subbed to this man already, the link is down below. Go ahead and do that. Replays, it's been so great having you on my channel, man. You are a dear friend. I love you with all my heart, and I've always got your back no matter what, my guy.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, and just before we wrap it up, you know, just, you know, big shout outs to you as well. If you're not subbed to this man, I don't know what you're doing. And, you know, it's so wonderful for me to see my sort of locals and my local just Yu-Gi-Oh area be so like promoted in the way that you're promoting it. Very excited to see where you go from here. I think the sky's the limit for you, and just, you know, please do not stop it. That's what that was. Yeah.
Likewise, my friend. And if you're ever feeling down, you got my number, you got my information. You can always reach out, my guy. So, guys, this has been Yu-Gi-Oh Replays, an exclusive Q&A on the channel. Thank you so much for joining me, my friend. I love you with all my heart. As always, my name is PaperWatchYo. Stay getting that paper, and I will see you all in the next video.
Every time it go down, I'ma have to